It's not just poor bone tissue mechanical properties that interfere with people's active life. There are many other tissue property problems that interfere with an active life. Tissue mechanical properties reflect extracellular matrix composition and organization, and as such, their changes can be signatures of disease. Examples of such diseases include intervertebral disc degeneration, cancer, atherosclerosis, osteoarthritis, osteoporosis, and tooth decay. In all these cases, the mechanical properties of the tissue are not what's desired. In intervertebral disc degeneration, for example, the discs lose their ability to absorb energy properly and can become very painful. So how would you measure these kind of properties in a living human? This instrument is our answer. What you have is a needle that goes down into the skin into what we call the tissue under test. This would be the tissue that you're interested in that would be buried in the patient. Now, what happens is there's an outer sheath. You see the probe assemblies over there. These probe assemblies have a hypodermic needle with specially sharpened tips, and then inside the hypodermic needle is a test probe that gets moved back and forth through the tissue. And so you can see how much the tissue resists the motion of this inner test probe relative to the reference probe. And the reference probe shields the instrument from interference in the soft tissue that covers the tissue under test. So you see in the picture there, example of using this instrument to look for the fruit in jello, which it could do. A more serious example is shown in the next slide, where the instrument is used to probe a spinal disc. The results of tests like this give you measures of the stiffness and the energy dissipation of the two components inside the spinal disc, which are called the annulus on the outside and the nucleus in the middle. And from measurements like this, the hope is to be able to distinguish pathologies of spinal discs before they present painful symptoms, and to understand better the process of disc degeneration. It's not really been possible until now to see the mechanical properties of buried tissues in intact discs and study what goes wrong with various disease processes, but now it is. So it's an exciting part of the future. This shows the application to osteoarthritis. Osteoarthritis is the most common human disease. Many elderly people are afflicted with osteoarthritis that can make movements painful and inhibit activities. I personally had to give up gardening because of osteoarthritis. It's a debilitating disease, and it involves degenerations of cartilage. So this instrument can also measure cartilage. In this case, showing using the instrument with a reference probe sitting on the surface of the cartilage, and then the test probe making flat indents into the cartilage. Now, one of the interesting things about cartilage is that it's a layered material. It's not the same mechanical properties all the way through. And so this slide also shows the studies that we did to see the ability of this instrument to measure the properties of a multi-layered sandwich. We put a softer gel on top of a harder gel and showed that the instrument could detect both the softer gel and the harder gel. These are just two examples of many situations in which tissue mechanical properties that inhibit people's active life can now be investigated with reference point indentation. Thank you.